Why is a water softener so important and why should you get one? Right now, if you're on this video, you are thinking to yourself, why do I really need a water softener? So that hopefully you'll find that this informational video will teach you why a water softener is important to your family's financial well-being and health well-being. Again, how does a water softener impact your health and your welfare, your financial welfare? So we're going to discuss those today. By the way, if you like this video, please click like, share it with your friends and family, because literally everyone uses water. And so this is a very good video for anyone that's just trying to understand, why would they want a water softener anyhow? In fact, I was like that, right? I was in the healthcare industry. I owned mail order pharmacies, and I thought, man, I'm doing people really good by selling them drugs. A drug dealer, right? No, so you're not, right? I spent many years uncovering the fact that actually I was just a cog in a wheel, and the drug manufacturers were lobbying the doctors, and lobbyists were lobbying the government to be able to make all this stuff legal and blah, blah, blah. It doesn't find the root problem. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about root problems today and how a water softener solves that problem. Doesn't mask it, it solves it, right? I love solving problems. I don't like sugarcoating stuff at like the drug world and saying, yeah, you're good. No, let's be realistic. Your health of your home, your health of your body is dependent on uncovering the things that are making it sick, right? So let's talk about that today, because that analogy is part of why I'm in this business and I left the medical world, and it's also very important to you. So you're going to be spending money no matter what, right? Let's talk about the largest water softener company in the world. It's Procter & Gamble. People are like, what? Yeah, they don't sell water softeners. They sell chemical treatments. Yes, chemicals that treat the water so you can wash your clothing. It's chemical treatment, yes. So they're the largest water softener company. So literally, we debate with customers, and not really debate, we educate them as to the fact that, you are always softening your water. No matter if you believe it or not, you're chemically softening the water. The shampoo you use, the conditioners you use, it's softening the water. Because what we're dealing with almost everyone's water supply in America. I mean, almost everybody has rock attached to the water droplet. Now let's talk about why. If I step outside here, you take a look. We're in a little subdivision here in West Palm Beach, and you can see that we have a street, we have a curb, we have a fire hydrants, and what's going on under the street is we have water lines that are bringing water from the city of West Palm Beach to our house, right? Out here, we actually even have a meter that's in that concrete box over there, and that is actually where the city says, you owe me money, right? So that meter tells the city how many gallons of water you're actually using. Then the water comes in, and we have it coming in through the wall here, and then I have it going through a water softener. Now, if you think about where it's coming from a underground well that's in West Palm Beach. Almost a huge portion of America actually gets their water from wells, even though the city says they provide it to them. Or it could be lakes. A lot of cities get their water from Lake Okeechobee in Florida. You could get other lakes and ponds that also supply water. So what is that water sitting on if it's in, say, Lake Michigan, Lake Erie, Lake Superior? Is it dirt? No, it's bedrock. It's bedrock. So what happens when water touches rock? Well, the rock attaches itself to the water droplet. It's across America. It happens everywhere. There's just no way to do that. The only way to avoid rock is if it's falling from the sky, you capture it, then that water droplet is soft. There's no rock attached to it. It's pretty simple. Water with rock is considered hard. Water without rock is considered soft. It's pretty simple because rock is hard. A lot of people are like, what's hard water? Well, it's water with rock, calcium, magnesium, minerals attached to it. So you have to say to yourself, all water has minerals attached to it, almost all. Again, whether it's like Michigan, Erie, doesn't matter where it comes from, the water has rock attached to it. Now, if you do get water from a reverse osmosis system, let's say that you're in California and they might have a reverse osmosis system that's desalinating the water from the ocean, you might have no rock in the water because the water gets pushed through a membrane that takes the salt off that water. Now, a lot of times cities blend that with well water, so you have to do a water test. In fact, I always recommend a water test for everybody. Yeah, you always want to do a water test. And there's a variety of tests. There's probably, I don't know, 200, 250 different things, maybe 300 different things you could test for. So I'm going to separate the water testing from toxic stuff that could cause cancer to the body to aesthetic things. Aesthetic things meaning like the rock. It literally can make your clothing stiff. Yeah, that's why you buy Downy. That's why you buy Tide, is that the rock attaches itself to the clothing, makes it stiff, and then you're using nasty chemicals to do that. We'll talk about that in a little bit. So anyhow, as that water attaches to rock, or that rock attaches to the water, they run it through all the plumbing pipes throughout the city. Now remember, plumbing pipes are old. Chicago, for crying out loud, there's still wooden pipes out there. And so what happens when the water with rock runs through those pipes? Well, those pipes actually get smaller and smaller, and they're coated with rock and more minerals. So as water passes through it, it picks up more and more of that. It's actually rather nasty. It's really rather disgusting. If you ever see a city, and we might find a picture and throw that into the video right here, because you'll see what the plumbing pipes that your city runs water through. It's kind of nasty. So I like to use an analogy. I don't know if you're a steak lover. I'm not really a big meat eater, so you can actually say you can think portobello mushroom if you're a vegan, or you can say steak if you're a steak lover. But think about if I were to take a steak, put it on a hook, a fishing pole, and I'd throw it through the water line, maybe 100 yards or 200 yards down. And I slowly reel that in. And that meat or portobello mushroom flops around inside that plumbing pipe, touching all the stuff that's in the plumbing pipe. And then I pull it out right here. And then I take it out and I just brush off the big rocks and I throw it on a grill. Are you going to want to eat that? And when you see the image of what's inside plumbing pipes, you'd say, yikes. And so you go, well, is that what cities do? Well, no. Cities have what's called water treatment plants, not water filtration plants. So when that water is running through the plumbing pipe, it's been treated with chlorine, which is sort of coats the water droplet. Now, why do they do that? Well, most cities coat that because it's required by law. Smart move, because quite honestly, as it's traveling through there, it could pick up bacteria like coliform nitrates, a bunch of junk. Really coliform and E. coli, and the water itself that's in a lake. I mean, we know geese poop in the lake, right? Well, do they filter that out? No, they have what's called water treatment. So they treat it with chlorine to kill any bacteria that's touched it. Lake Michigan, for instance, 1/4 inch of rainfall in Chicago produces 5 billion gallons of raw sewage that dumps into Lake Michigan. Yeah, 5 billion. Why do you think a lot of the beaches are closed? Because of coliform. Well, the sewage backs up. Yeah, the city does not maintain its sewage very well. Most cities don't. Look at San Francisco. They just got slapped with a huge lawsuit after years and years and years and years of dumping raw sewage into the bay. The EPA finally said they had enough, but I mean, how long was long? Read the article. It's crazy. So anyhow, cities are arguably ran by man, and man is arguably lazy in many cases. So, this video is designed to teach you a little bit so you can be conscious of the water that you put in your body, the water you shower in, the water you use in your home. Okay? So, and why am I passionate about that? Well, your body's made of water, right? You're 70% water. Your brain is 90% water. So when that thing's coming down the plumbing pipe, you need to be aware of what that is, right? What comprises that? So one, the city takes it out of a lake or a river, or they take it out of a well, and they add something to it, chlorine, and then they run it out to your house. Yeah, that's it. Again, water treatment. And as it's traveling through all those plumbing pipes, it gets more dirty. Now, that water droplet's covered with chlorine. And I like to say, if you've seen some of my other videos, I like to look at it like, well, that's a good thing. Sort of like a Snicker bar. A Snicker bar has a wrapper around the Snicker bar, right? So when they manufacture that, the people in the factory, their dirty hands don't touch it. When they go to pack it, their dirty hands don't touch it. When the shipper, the guy in the truck, he grabs it, he doesn't touch it. Right? Then they deliver it to a store. The store packer, warehouse guy isn't touching it. Then the person that's unboxing the box, they're not touching it. And then as the kids are looking around and touching the candy, there's a wrapper on it, right? You bring it up to the register, you throw it on the thing, and it's not, the person's not touching your candy bar as they're ringing it up. So the wrapper is very important on a candy bar. No different than chlorine. It wraps the water droplet. But when it comes in the home, do you still want that wrapper on there? I mean, I'm assuming when you eat that Snicker bar, you're not eating the wrapper, right? Ugh, all that stuff that's on there. So what can you do to clean that water droplet? Well, right now, most of you, if you have never had a water softener, you have been using chemicals to continue to treat the water. Yes, Tide. I mean, Tide was outlawed in New York and Europe. And why was it outlawed? It was outlawed there because they used so many nasty chemicals. Now, I think they've been adjusting their chemical compounds so it's legal again. But I mean, these are what the manufacturers do, right? They need to soften the water with chemicals in order for you to use it to wash your clothes. Or you can say, I'm going to use a system that takes the rock out of it. Now, there's a variety of systems on the market. A lot of people say, I want salt-free water softener. I mean, you guys are going to close off this video and you're going to look at water softeners, and the first ad that comes up is going to be about salt-free. Why? Because when someone sells you, including I can sell you one, I could sell you a salt-free water conditioner. It's not a softener. It's called a water conditioner. Companies out there, it's amazing. They're online. They're saying it's salt-free water softeners. Well, those companies are not allowed to be part of WQA because WQA is Water Quality Association of America. And what they have finally said is if you're going to be a member of our organization, you can't use salt-free water softening in your ads. If you do, we can't have you as a member because it's misleading to you. Yes, you, the consumer. You are misled because they try to make it sound like, oh, we got this magic wand and those old school water dealers, those old guys in those old buildings, they're lying to you. Well, I'm no old guy, right? I'm no young spring chicken, but I'm no old guy. And what I can tell you is that that's a bunch of lies. Why? Because I could sell you one. We have sold them. When they first came out, I'm like, yes, no more salt. But then our customers complained. And they complained. And they complained some more. And then guess what? I refunded money. Basically, what I did is I offered them whatever they paid us in exchange for a water softener. In some cases, I gave some money back because these things were supposed to be so magical. They're not. Because what they said is they're going to take this water rock that's attached to the water droplet, convert it so it stays attached to the water droplet, and travel through all the plumbing, come out of the faucet, land on your hair, and it won't bind to your hair, bind to your skin, bind to the clothes. Liars! Liars! Yeah, and so if I sat there and said the same thing, I was a liar. I mean, I don't like being a liar. I like being honest. So yes, old school water softeners, which were designed in the late 1800s, work. Now, the old ones were tank exchange. So they were, a dealer would have to come in, take a tank, and I got one right here. So, sort of like that. This guy right here. It's just a tank. And let's imagine there was an in and out head. They'd have to take this tank out every week, and you would have to do what's called tank exchange. Then they moved to a time clock or a manual unit where you can manually draw salt into it and clean it. Because inside of here, and you guys can see that this thing has a little screen, and then you can see inside there's carbon and resin. Carbon and resin, carbon and resin, what does carbon and resin do? Carbon is like the Brita filter. It absorbs chlorine. That's about all it does. There's a few other nice little things it does, but it absorbs the chlorine that the city wrapped this water droplet in. I think that's great because chlorine dries out your skin, dries out your hair. It bleaches your clothing. In Florida here, they use a lot of chlorine. Chicago, a lot of chlorine. Why? Because there's 5 billion gallons of raw sewage dumping back into Lake Michigan. So they got to use a lot of chlorine to kill all that E. coli and human and animal fecal matter. Remember, they're killing animal and human fecal matter and with the chlorine, and yet it's all it happens with that water droplet is they run it through sand, which doesn't clean the water. So when it comes to your home, you now have the ability to say, do I want something that's sort of like teeth, biting at that, taking the chlorine off, taking the particles off of that, the stuff that built up inside that plumbing pipe. So chlorine is removed with carbon. And then what's next is resin. Resin is a filter material that's designed to attract. It's called ion exchange, which means it pops the rock off and replaces it with a sodium or potassium ion. That's what it does. It's very simple. Now, as it passes through this filter material that's inside of this tank here, is that it does it really quick. Does it very quick. And so a professional water softener company is going to make sure that they size that. Because look at that, how little that guy is, right? And then the one in here is much bigger. And then there's even bigger ones. And why is that important? Why wouldn't we want to use that little guy? Well, that little guy is actually just meant for Europe. It's meant for just like a couple faucets inside a little apartment there with a single person living there. In fact, a lot of the big box products you'll find, in fact, the industry, the water softener industry is broken into 3 parts. There's big box, which basically sells little bitty guys like that. There's sticker companies. That's companies who will take water softeners bought from a distributor that were bought, the parts were bought from China. They slap their sticker on it, like Angel Water. You know, and then there's professional grade. And professional grade is going to be a professional manufacturer who built it from head to toe. Not assembled it from head to toe, but literally built it. And in many cases got certification for it. So in any regard, what we do is we want to, when we educate you as a consumer, we try to educate you that we want to get that rock off that water droplet and chlorine off that water droplet. And then we want to make that water cleaner. Now, why do we want to do that? Because we want benefits from that, right? We want to eliminate buying all those soaps and cleaning supplies and conditioners for your hair. I mean, why are women buying very expensive hair conditioners? Well, one of the reasons is because their hair dries out, right? Why does it dry out? You took a shower, you used shampoo, what's drying it out? Well, think about that for a minute. If the rock is attached to this water droplet and then you dry your hair, and either the water evaporates or you've dried it off with a rag, what's left behind? That piece of rock. So it binds to the hair follicle or it plugs the pores of your skin. So what do? You buy a shampoo, then you buy conditioner. You might even go in for a deep conditioning treatment. I have a great story to tell you about that I've used at a couple of these videos about Yeva Berkowitz and Greg Berkowitz. Greg wasn't really interested in getting a water softener, but Yeva, she's in charge, you know, happy wife, happy life, have a new baby. They wanted a drinking water system, and then they learned about what a whole home system can do, and they got the system. And she's a great story because it was within 30 days that she calls me because she sits down in her hair salon with her hairstylist, and the hairstylist is like, said to her, "Oh my God, get up!" And, Yeva's calling me and she's like, "You won't believe it. I sat down and she's yelling at me." And I'm like, and I thought for sure, what about something that's bad? But no, the truth of the matter is what happened is Yeva's hairstylist said, "Get up. You don't need to have the deep conditioning to your hair. We don't need to trim the ends of your hair because they're frayed," right? That's what women have to do, men. They have to trim the ends of the hair. So when they go in, and it costs Yeva anyhow $120 every month. So what she was able to do is skip a month because the hairstylist said, "Get up, get out of the chair. You don't need to do this." And as she's telling me this story and how happy she was, my phone starts ringing and I'm looking at it and she's like, "Hey, if that's my hairstylist, she wants to buy a softener for her house too because she wants to get one and she wants it best for her clients as well." By the way, we sell lots of water softener systems for hair salons, hotels. We do the Hyatt Hotel. We do restaurants. We do Starbucks. We do a lot of different stores because they know that you cleaner the water, the better everything is, right? Starbucks, as an example, completely purifies this water droplet, so then it takes on the flavor of the coffee bean. The tea companies that we sell to, they purify the water so the tea tastes right. Oh, we got a great demo where we actually show you brown pooey looking tea and golden color tea. Why is it brown pooey looking? It's because the organics attach to tea. So if your tea looks nasty, that's a good reason why. Well, getting back to Yeva's story, she's like, oh my God, Andrew, I'm able to skip every other month. So now she's saving $120. Again, I said to you, I'm going to discuss how we can impact your pocketbook, right? Saves Greg and Yeva $120 every other month. That's what, $720 a year. Because now they have a system that's taking the rock and the chlorine out, and she doesn't have to get her hair treated all the time. In fact, she's able to drastically reduce the amount of conditioner that she's buying, which is very expensive. And on top of that, guess what? Several years later, she had to get she needed service, and we went out there and we rebed the filter material. And during that time that it wasn't working, she called me. She's like, oh my God, it's unbelievable how this has saved my life. I mean, I miss it so bad. Please tell your guys to hurry up. I mean, it's a true story. And it happens over and over and over again. And it's not because it's a water softener conditioner, a salt-free system, because they don't do that. Because when the salt-free conditioner, when the water goes through that system, is they say it keeps it attached to the water droplet, but it doesn't, because the minute it hits the hair and then it evaporates, or you go and dry it, the rock didn't magically disappear. If you do dishes, this is what caused us the biggest problem, is the dishes. The people would do their dishes, and the rock, the heat from the dishwasher was drying everything, and the rock was left behind, leaving haze on the glassware. So people are spending $3,000 on a salt-free conditioner, and they're like, yay, I don't have to use salt. And guess what? It didn't work. Not only that, but their laundry still came out very hard. Yes, hard. Why? Because the rock binds to the clothing, and what do you need to do? You need to use chemicals to soften it. Thank you, Intertide and Snuggle or Bounce or any of those other products, which, by the way, are nasty chemicals, which, by the way, have never been approved by the government, have never been really tested on people. So how do we know that it's actually good for you? People call me all the time. They're like, I got so many rashes. And then we tell them to switch to natural cleaners, which, by the way, natural cleaners can't have rock attached to it because they don't have the nasty chemicals with it. But they mechanically treated the water. And they were like, my God, my itchiness went away. My eczema got so much better. My skin, my hair, everything got so much better. So the benefits there is just a health. Now, imagine that you had to go see a doctor. Did that cost you money? Sure. Imagine if you had to take drugs or steroids. Did that cost you money? Sure. How about your time? Did that cost you money? So when I explained to you that this water softener here can impact your health and your pocketbook, it's literally true. It's literally true. There's a ton of things that this water softener can impact. So we've talked about your skin, your hair. We've talked about your pocketbook on those. And then we can talk about the appliances in your home. Now, what we're able to see, there's studies that WQA did, Water Quality Association of America, and they found that, I think it was through the Bataille study, I may have mispronounced that, but through that study that your appliances last 30% longer. Yeah, 30% longer. So back here in the corner, what do we have? We have a water heater, right? The electric water heater. Oh my God, electric water heaters are the worst. They break down so easy with rock. Why? Because rock attaches to the heating coil and literally binds to it, and the next thing you know, that heating coil doesn't know what to do, and it cracks. It's broken, gone, and you got to get it fixed. So it affects your water heater drastically. Now, that's why softening the water when it comes in the home is one of the most important things. Second to that is if you can't catch the whole home, put it right before the water heater, because most of the things in your house are going to use hot water. You shower in, warm water, 70% warm water. You do laundry in warm water then, that's about 50%, right? Your dishwasher's in hot water. And, so those are some things that will help, you're going to extend the life of those appliances, because anytime you heat water, what happens? The water evaporates and the rock is left behind. That's why with plumbers, I actually had a great plumbing company once say to me, they said, when they were referring clients to us, and they still do, thank God, they would tell their clients, yes, I replaced your water heater, but I didn't fix the root problem. And people will go, what do you mean? It's like, well, I put a Band-Aid on the problem. The problem is there's rock in your water. That's the real problem. So yes, I replaced your water heater, but I didn't fix the root problem, which is the water droplet. And if you want this guy to last longer, it's important to do that. By the way, I've had clients that said, oh, I have a water heater, it dates back to 1984. Well, yeah, water heaters back then were built better. They weren't made in China, they were made in America. In fact, I've even had people say to me, I bought a GE water softener, a Sears Kenmore unit that's 25 years old. Well, yeah, they used to be made in America by Eco Water, which is an American manufacturer, and they lasted a long time. But guess what? Now they're made in China. So the Chinese, do you think that they build things for quality? In most cases, they're building products to hit a price point. Because in America, we've all been driven by price points. What's the cheapest? What's the lowest price? What's this? What's that? And my simple argument to you is we can do that for you if that's what you want, with a stickered water softener that's made from China, or you can get a good quality one that comes with a 10-year warranty. One that has NSF 44 certification. Now, we're going to step into that right now. How do you know if a water softener is of value? I mean, I have a lot of clients asking me all the time, how do I know a water softener is any good? And I'm like, I'm sorry, we're not in Kansas City, or I'm not in, Idaho, or, we get people from Massachusetts. We're knock on wood, we have people from all over the country, and we don't serve everybody there. But one day we'll do stuff online. But you want to talk to your local dealer about finding a product that is NSF 44 certified. What that means is the National Sanitation Foundation, which is a non-for-profit, they studied the water softener by throwing thousands of gallons of water at it with rock and with radium-228 and 226 and barium. Those are toxins. They cause cancer. It's in a huge amount of water supplies in the United States. So in order for you to know if you have that, you can go to the EWG, that's ewg.org. They have if you go to top right, click tap water database, you'll be able to enter your zip code and uncover the toxins that are in your water in an easy to understand format. It's interesting. EWG puts it in like a 4th grade reading level, where when you get your water report from the city, it's like college plus 4. It's like people don't. I went to college. I paid a lot of money for my college. I went to Harper College, went to Northwestern. In fact, I had to take 4 years of education of English classes, because Northwestern said no to Harper's A grades I had there for English, and Northwestern said you had to learn English the Northwestern way. And still, when you read these water reports, you're like, oh my God, they're so complicated, right? You almost have to be a scientist or attorney to really understand it. And so most of us as consumers just throw it away, and we believe our water should be safe, and it's because of 2 reasons. A, you're paying for it through your water bill, and B, our government for years and years and years has said, your water meets our standards. Well, the standards were set in 1972, updated in 1984, and now, thanks to the Biden administration, updated with one more contaminant called forever chemicals. Why did they finally update that? Because it will kill you. Forever chemicals are toxic to the body, like literally toxic to the body. All you have to do is watch the movie Mark Ruffalo did. That's the guy from that did the Incredible Hulk, right? You just have to watch Dark Waters, and you'll uncover forever chemicals, and you'll understand, holy crap, that stuff's toxic to your body. Oh, let's talk about how the government still didn't update the hexavalent chromium-6. Yes, Julia Roberts won her Best Actress Award for that movie called Erin Brockovich's story about hexavalent chromium-6. The government in 1972 thought that if you consumed hexavalent chromium-6, it'd be converted to hexavalent chromium-3 through your digestive tract, and you would be okay. Well, we found out that no, you'll die of cancer. And yet, there is no standard in America for that. Hello? Hello? Uncle Sam, do you really care? Do you really care? And I'll just say to you that it's hard for them to care, I'll be honest with you, because 99% of the water is used for industry. Yeah, like 90-some% is industry. So it's fire suspension, it's for firefighters, it's for industry, it's for manufacturing, cleaning, it's for, even in your home, if you think about it, how much water, an average person is using 50 gallons of water a day. How many gallons of water do you honestly drink out of your tap? Maybe one? So 1/50th is what you consume? Maybe less than that, right? So if you think about that, again, average consumers using 50 gallons of water, some people make that debate with me, like, no way. It's like, yeah, between washing dishes, washing your hands, taking a shower, doing your laundry, flushing your toilet, all those things add up to 50 gallons of water a day. So all those 50 gallons of water, I'm arguing that it makes sense to take the rock and the chlorine out. Because again, you're going to benefit two ways, your health and your pocketbook. Your health and your pocketbook. So that said, let's continue about how the water saves you, soft water saves you money and chlorine-free water saves you money. Now let's just take chlorine for an example. Let's say that we go into, we'll go in there right now, we'll go in the laundry room, right? Go in the laundry room and your water runs into the water heater and you didn't treat it, and you come on in here and you do a load of laundry, right? You wash your clothes, fill it up with water, and there's just a little bit of chlorine in there. And every day you're doing black or blue clothing. Well, would you take just one droplet of chlorine and drop it in there every time you do your black clothes? No. So what happens over time is your clothing fades little by little by little. And in a year, you're like, I got gray pants, not black pants. Well, yeah, because you used raw water from the city that has just a drop of chlorine in it. That was another great analogy one person once told me. Do you really want to drink your tap water? Well, think about this. If you're in Chicago or you're in Florida area, would you want to take a glass, go over to Lake Okeechobee, or if you're in Chicago or any of the Great Lakes area, go take a glass and just fill it up from the lake with water. And then just take just one drop of chlorine and drop it in that glass. Now, would you like to go and drink that water? Everyone says, no way. Well, the city treats it. City makes it clean. They filter the water. No. Again, they have what's called water treatment plants, treating the water, not filtering the water. So that's why I say the argument is to you that it's time for you to consider filtering your water. And by the way, when you use products like, here's one, okay? This has a lot of nasty chemicals in it. In fact, this too was outlawed by the government, New York and Europe, because of the nasty chemicals in there. Or once you soften the water, you can move to plant-based, EOS. It's not designed for water with rock in it. You need to be able to do that, and you get drastically change how much soap you need. This thing, you have to use a whole cup. Take a look at this cup. That's a whole cup. You got to use that because it's all the chemicals in there. When you go and you move from chemically treating the water to mechanically treating it, you can use a tablespoon. Savings, pocketbook savings. Now, it's hard for me to define exactly what that is, but let's just remember one thing. All your grocery stores, 20% of their grocery store shelves are saved for cleaning supplies. So arguably almost, call it 15 to 20% of your grocery bill is spent on cleaning supplies. Yes, when the water goes through and it stains the shower and it starts getting gray and hazy, what do you need to do? You have to use a harsh chemical to clean it off. And by the way, now that harsh chemical, you should be wearing a mask. You should be wearing gloves, but do you? It's a good question for you, right? Now you're exposing your body to more chemicals. So I look at this and I start saying to myself, you know, when I left the healthcare world and came to the water filtration world, I'm like, I'm actually able to impact people's lives. I'm actually able to actually teach them something so that they can make their families more healthy. Let's look here. I mean, we have a dishwasher, right? Think about that. Water droplet goes in there, and what happens? The water gets heated, and then it evaporates. The rock is left behind on the heating coil, and over time, guess what? It coats the heating coil, and it dries, becomes brittle, and then one day it just breaks. Now you got to replace your dishwasher, costing you more money. Over here we have a Keurig. I can't tell you how many clients have written us great reviews, Google reviews. Oh my God, I used to have to replace my Keurig every year. Now it's been year 2, and I didn't need to replace it. Why? There's a heating element in there that gets ruined, cheap one, that's ruined by hard water. Faucets. When we take a look at faucets, we're a plumbing company in Chicago, so what happens with faucets? They get all hard water builds up in them. All you got to do is take this thing off and take a close look at it, and when you have hard water, you're going to see the white film buildup. Imagine this, you know, that Bataille study I was talking about. Think about the Bataille study. Everything lasts 30% longer with clean, soft water. So think about your shower stall, right? Shower stall has all that haze on there. Oh, toilets. Let's think about toilets for a second. Toilets, we have clients that tell me about gray rings, and we go and inspect their home, and they got gray rings in their toilet. Well, why do you think it's gray? It's not because of the waste, the human waste that was dumped in there. That's not it. What it is the rock has been swirling around, and it etched the sheen on the toilet bowl. When it etches the sheen on the toilet bowl, which is polished, all of a sudden you open it up to the porous porcelain. And what does porous mean? It attracts things to it. So the gray is the rock that then gets attached to the porcelain, and it looks gray. So if your toilets are looking gray, ding, 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 it's the rock in your water. And what you've done is the rock has slowly been etching away at that sheen. As a result, it exposed the porcelain, and now you're seeing the colors all the time. So we have people who say, oh, my toilets are brown, my toilets are, well, yeah, that's because of that. Let's talk about the really expensive thing, a new bathroom, right? Imagine you have that shower stall, and the tile is all screwed up. It's got white film. I mean, I've seen this 100 times. White film all over the floor, all over the walls. What do you got to do? You can't use chemicals anymore because the harsh chemicals eat away at the tile because, oh yeah, the tile is made of inorganic or organic material, and the nasty chemicals eat away at that, changing the color of the tile. So now you got to break the tile. You got to replace the tile. You got to hire a guy to replace it all. So a new bathroom is going to cost you $20,000, $30,000. So imagine extending, if that's every 10 years, usually we see people needing to do that around 10 years. If we can extend that by another 3 years, maybe 4 years, have we not saved you 30 to 40% of that $10,000? Maybe. There's another way that you can affect your pocketbook. So that said, I mean, by the way, keep in mind that if you like this, please click link. If you've been learning something, please share this with your friends and family, because we really, really appreciate you doing that. And last but not least, you need to remember 2 key things. One, the most important thing is that you are in charge of your water. You can sit there and think that your school or your municipality is in charge of your water, but no, you are in charge of your life. You can't trust the government. I had a client one time say that to me. Oh, I said, you don't need to do a water system, blah, blah, blah. You're on Chicago water. It meets all the EPA standards. And he said to me, Andrew, that's so cute. He said, but I'll buy a system from you. But I just got one question for you. What do you trust the government to do right? And see, the thing is for years, our cities have been telling us, your water's safe, your water's safe, your water's safe, to these antique or old water standards, which, by the way, lobbyists lobbied the government in 1984 so hard that they made the EPA's laws to add another contaminant so difficult that it's been incredibly hard to add any other contaminants to that, thanks to our government and the lobbyists from the chemical manufacturers who didn't want the levels to ever change. So even though the city keeps saying it meets these old standards, keep in mind that they just updated it, and they just updated it with one contaminant, forever chemicals, which is highly toxic. But there's a lot more out there. There's a lot more out there. So you are in charge of your water for your family. And then number two is you can impact your pocketbook and your family's health by getting a NSF 44 certified water softener. Now, if you're only going to be in the house for a year or two, maybe you can go with a Chinese unit. I get this request all the time, so I'm saying it out loud now. The Chinese, I don't like any of them because, quite honestly, they all broke down. I can still sell them to you because I can buy them from a distributor and sell it to you, but I don't really like them. I like getting something that's NSF 44 certified. And no, there isn't any that's certified NSF 44 from China because, again, they're just selling the components to manufacturers, to assemblers in America. And by the way, that's the other part about it. Let me just list the manufacturers that I know. There's Chandler, there's Connecticut, there's Eco Water, there's Culligan, and there's Rainsoft. But Culligan, it's not made in America. They say designed and built in America, which means they manufacture the stuff over in China. And you have to do your research and see, is it NSF 44 certified? Same thing with the stuff from some of the other manufacturers. So you have to actually ask yourself, do your research. It's very easy to do. nsf.org, top right-hand side, click on it, check the manufacturer, enter the code, and away you go. See if it's actually certified. That way you know that you're getting a very good quality system. That's how you can decide, do I want to invest in my health and welfare and protect my appliances, protect my home, protect my clothing? I mean, every time water touches something, it's costing you something, either in chemicals or it's going to cost you an upfront water softener system. By the way, one other last thing to keep in mind, today's buyers of homes, what are they interested in? Healthy homes. I go to builder meetings all the time, and what are builders doing? They're building healthy homes. So air filtration and water filtration consumers are looking for. Because every house now has granite countertops, so that's no big deal. But do they have water filtration? So when you invest in one, you're literally making your house more valuable to the average consumer today. To check it out for yourself so you know that. If you have any further questions, please click the link below. You're going to be able to get right to our website. You have some basic information to go to your local water softener dealer out there. Again, salt-free does not help you. It doesn't take the rock off the water droplet. It actually just binds it to it, so when it's going through the plumbing doesn't get clogged, but that's it. The minute it touches your clothing or touches air, that all bets are off, so it doesn't really do much for you. So you do want to do a traditional water softener. There are some great advances in technology that are out there today. Those advances in technology are amazing. There's amazing stuff. So they just barely use any salt at all. So, don't be fooled by these companies that say, oh, this old technology out there. Well, it's the old technology that still works. By the way, you still drive a car, right? Yeah, a car was invented back then, but now it's got a lot of improvements to it. You don't just throw the car out. I mean, I don't see any jets and space machines out there yet. Now, they may come, but we're not here yet. So that said, I hope this helps you define what you want for your family. Take the chlorine out, take the rock out. If you live in a private well, you don't need to take anything out of the well because private wells don't have chlorine added to it. We have lots of videos that you can find on our YouTube channel about owning your own private well. 23 million of you out there in America actually have your own private well. But if you live on city water, I hope that this video has been great for you. Now, go drink good, clean water. I'm Drew. I'm here to serve you.